Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Black Ops Cold War. I've been telling you guys for a while now, the older CODs feel great. Like, explain to me why the connectivity on these older and outdated games feels so much better than it does on Black Ops 6, which is only a few months old. Like, this match here on Express is not even exceptional whatsoever. It's my first match on Cold War in like well over a year, but it just plays so good, man. The same thing is true of Modern Warfare 3. The same thing is true of Vanguard, believe it or not. Like, the older games are so fun to play because essentially, they don't have skill-based matchmaking. Most of the sweaty players will be on the current game. That's just the very nature of things. And with the smaller player base that's left on the older games, it genuinely feels like old school Call of Duty once again. It's like you can just hop on, play casually, and have fun. There's no manipulative matchmaking bullshit. It's just good old-fashioned COD on great maps. And I won't lie, my aim is pretty terrible here because jumping like COD to COD always has that adjustment period, you know? Like, for some reason, like, your snappiness in one game doesn't translate over into the next game. You have to like reacquaint yourself with like the aim assist and everything. But the biggest thing for me going back to these older titles after having played Black Ops 6 so much during the launch was getting used to playing on maps once again that were not all the size of Nuketown. With all the problems that Black Ops 6 has been facing lately, I think a lot of us have either forgotten or maybe just gotten used to the terrible maps that we had at launch in that game, which is a really valid criticism. Like, the maps are very small, the spawns are so broken, there's like no room whatsoever to breathe. And then when you go back to a game like Cold War or a game like Modern Warfare 3 or any of the other COD titles, it really goes to show that the maps in Black Ops 6 are one of the worst aspects of the game. You have those tiny maps, you have those horrible spawns, and you have the terrible servers. What a recipe for disaster. And speaking of those servers, I saw this thread today, so let's just go ahead and get into it because this is actually pretty freaking mind-blowing. This was a Reddit thread by a user named Teamy, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's spelled with letters and whatnot, but regardless, in there, they call out Activision for actively lying to their player base when it comes to our connection quality. You guys may remember the white pages they gave us where they go through and they talk about skill-based matchmaking, and they say that connection and ping being king, is the #1 factor when it comes to the matchmaking within the COD franchise. Like, connection is always their top priority apparently, and right then and there we all knew that was going to be a lie. But using his NetDuma router, Teamy here was able to go through and show just how bad the connectivity can be within Black Ops 6. So he's from New York, and he and his wife like to play games together after they get home from work, and oftentimes they like to play with a friend of theirs that lives in Pennsylvania. The crazy part about this is I'm also from Pennsylvania, and I did used to use a NetDuma router, and I experienced a lot of the same problems last year that they are currently facing this year. But what Teamy did is he recorded 51 games that they played this week on Black Ops 6, and they tracked, using their NetDuma router, what servers Call of Duty would connect them to. Here's a map of the dedicated server locations within the United States, and once again, they're from New York and playing with a friend from Pennsylvania. Very clearly, these are East Coast people who should only be connecting to the East Coast servers. Well, in 4 of their 51 games, roughly 8% of the time, they actually connected to their home server within New York. In 31 of their games, they would be connected to the Midwest Chicago server, which happened to me all the time back during Modern Warfare 3, by the way. In 13 of their games, they were connected to the Southeast Atlanta server, which he and a bunch of people in the comments of that thread claim is like one of the worst servers in the country. In 3 of his matches, they connected to servers near Dallas, Texas. Like, what the hell? These guys are from New York and Pennsylvania. Why are they connecting to Texas if it's just them, right? And to quickly run over the numbers here, of the 51 games that they played this week, only 8% of the time would they connect to their home server as players from New York. 61% of the time, they would connect to the Midwest servers. 25% of the time, they would connect to the Southeast servers down in Atlanta. And 6% of the time, they would connect to Texas. Like, what is actually happening here? To visualize this, they live roughly here. I don't know where they live or anything, obviously, but I just picked like right there in the middle between New York and Pennsylvania. And instead of putting them on this server, which is right here, Call of Duty instead thinks it's best to put them over here, and down here. Like, how in the world can Activision claim that ping is king when you live right next to one of the biggest servers in the country and they connect to you on average halfway across the country as often as they connect you to your actual home server? They live in New York. Why are they being connected to Texas? Why are over half their matches taking place on the Chicago servers if ping is truly king here within the Call of Duty franchise? It's quite clear what's happening here. Skill-based matchmaking or engagement-optimized matchmaking, whatever you want to call it, it's basically the same concept, is connecting them halfway across the country so that they can face players of an equal skill level, and the same thing is happening to each and every one of you as well. The reason why the game feels so bad from a stability and connection standpoint is we are bouncing around servers to match us with people of equal skill instead of just putting us on the nearest server server where we would have the best connection to the game possible. One match we might be playing in Chicago, next match we're in Texas, next match after that we're down in Miami, after that for some reason we're over in Dublin, then we're in South America, then we're back up to North America. Like, do you guys see what I'm trying to say here? That is likely one of the reasons why COD feels so bad. There's no consistency to the servers that we're joining, and as a result, you get these wildly different gameplay experiences where sometimes it might feel kind of good, and I'm sure you guys have had that. Like, let's not act like Black Ops 6 is completely irredeemable. Like, you guys know, like, we have those good matches every now and then. The connection feels good, your shot feels on, like, the hit detection and server stability, like, all that just seems on point sometimes, you know? Like, sometimes the game feels really damn good, but most of the time, it doesn't. Most of the time, you're kind of just, like, in the middle somewhere, and every now and then, you have horrible matches where you're just lagging around constantly and everything feels terrible. The thing that really gets me is that the in-game ping meter essentially is just lying to us. Like, we've all experienced it. I've seen countless clips online, but you'll be stuttering around the map, you'll be rubber banding like crazy, and for me, a lot of the time it just feels like there are two magnets on either end of my character that are kind of just tugging me in one direction or the other. It's like the servers can't keep up with the inputs that I'm putting into the game. It just feels really freaking bad, but then you look at your latency and the game's like, nah, King, you're at 30 ms, trust, just believe us here. The servers in this year's game somehow seem to be worse than before. They track absolutely everything about your skill-based matchmaking data, but they can't bother to invest in better servers for the game to run on. It doesn't make sense to me, and I won't lie to you guys, that's one of the biggest reasons why Black Ops 6 fell off for me personally, and I'm sure the same thing is true for many of you out there as well. You guys have been watching this gameplay from the older Call of Duty games, and have you noticed a trend when it comes to the footage I've been posting? Black Ops Cold War, we got DM Ultra. Modern Warfare 3, we've got Interstellar Camo. Modern Warfare 2, we've got Orion. Black Ops 6, we have Dark Matter. I play these games, man. I genuinely love the Call of Duty franchise, and I want what's best for this franchise. I've been grinding these games for going on... Wait a fucking minute. COD 2025 will be 18 years of me playing Call of Duty. Holy fuck, I need to go lie down. The point I'm trying to make here is I get the mastery camo in each game. I grind Call of Duty more than probably 80-90% of the player base, but the only fun part about COD anymore is doing that camo grind. Having that carrot on a stick to chase and seeing your progress is fun. It sort of like satisfies that part of your brain that wants to make progress and feel accomplished. The problem for me is once that camo grind is done, you really see the game for what it is. And Black Ops 6 at its core could be a really good game, but like we've been talking about so much recently, you have those tiny, brainless maps, you have horrendous netcode and terrible servers, the anti-cheat doesn't work, hackers are running ranked play right now essentially, skill-based matchmaking is also running rampant, and the matchmaking itself is specifically designed to manipulate your experience. Like, COD doesn't feel real anymore, there's nothing authentic about the online experience, and so once you're done with your camo grind and you're just playing the game to try to like actually play it, you know, go capture B, get your kill streaks, try to get as many kills as possible, you know, when you actually just play the game to play the game, you realize how many problems there are within a game like Black Ops 6 and Warzone. It's only when you play the games that are a few years older that you finally get to feel like the game was meant for fun rather than just sucking every last penny out of your bank account or every last minute of your time in the name of player retention. I know I'm not the only person that feels this way. I see it all the time in my Twitch chat, I see it on Twitter, I see it on Reddit. When people finish the camo grind, they're just left with the core game, and the core game isn't fun because of how badly Activision has mishandled this franchise over the course of the past 5 or 6 years. It feels like a hollow shell of its former self, but the one silver lining is finally the community as a whole seems to be coming to this realization, and Call of Duty is getting blasted with more hate than I have ever seen before, and fans are leaving in larger numbers than ever before. It's time for Activision to finally wake up and save the franchise that we all love so much, because something at some point has got to give. If you're wondering about the Steam numbers here, yeah, the Steam numbers went down yet again today. They have not gained players in over a month and a half for the COD franchise. Like, that's freaking terrible. And if you're also wondering, to wrap the video up here about skill-based matchmaking and of course the data they're supposed to be sending everybody, I have not gotten my information yet. There's a couple posts on Reddit of other people getting their information, but as always, I will keep you guys posted as soon as I get my information and as we learn more. But for right now, I'm going to wrap up this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on them bouncing us around the country and the world in the name of skill-based matchmaking down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.